Good morning to each of you on this day we have set aside to memorialize the life of our beloved Elle. Sean, I'm sorry that I'm not physically present with you today, and know my thoughts and my heart are with you. I hold space in my day-to-day living for Elle and the many fond moments we shared together. He is now an ancestor, a beloved, who was much more than a friend. He became family, and Sean too. When the Susquehanna Valley Ethical Society, of which I am founder and president, became a member of the American Ethical Union in January of 2016, Elle was there from day one cheering us on. Elle's passion for the movement and his aspirations for the future of ethical culture to be stronger, more vibrant, and growing was what he saw when our society, in a small rural town along the Susquehanna River in central PA, joined the movement. I too shared his vision, and it was this that was the catalyst for our budding friendship. Neither of us wanted to disregard the history of ethical culture and the social justice work of its ancestors. Elle was always amazed with how often the Valley Ethical Society would make its way into our local newspaper with stories of our community projects and our fellowship. We set out to be a community of doers, just like Felix Adler intended the movement to be. And Elle was always sure to highlight our good actions with others. Phone conversations and emails were plenty, some related to society business, though ever more frequently turned to being two friends sharing and laughing about life. I adored this guy and shall always cherish the life stories he told me about himself. Some filled with sadness, but most filled with adventure, fun, and love for his Sean. Sean, thank you so much for your ever understanding, for the many hours Elle and I would spend talking on the phone. Those calls I shall forever treasure. Elle was the best. He personally stepped in to help the Valley Society when our treasurer resigned in early 2021 and we had no one to step in. Elle came to the rescue. He purchased QuickBooks for us and worked many hours to transfer all of our financial files. Even after a member stepped in to fill the treasurer position on the board, Elle continued to be the keeper of our financial books. I knew we were in good hands with Elle watching over our finances. Elle soon decided that the time was perfect for Sean and him to become members of our society. And it was June 3rd, 2021, and our society welcomed them both into our community. He brought to Susquehanna Valley Ethical Society the wonderfulness of the New York Society of Ethical Culture. His passion for ethical culture was grown at NYSEC, and those years of experience at NYSEC came with Elle when he joined our Valley community. It was then in August 2021, another momentous moment, that Valley Board of Directors unanimously voted Elle in to fill the vice president seat, which had become vacant. In the following 6 months, Elle was by my side. Together, we worked to strengthen and grow the Valley Society. We planned our October Founding Day celebration, our November Stone Soup community event, and December's Winter Solstice celebration. All, of course, were a great success, and Elle saw a need for revisions to our society's bylaws. And one of the last things he presented to the board was a well thought out proposal of revisions to consider for amending our bylaws. And because of his diligence, we are able to continue this task to improve our bylaws this calendar year. There is a very special ethical action program that Elle wanted to see come to fruition at the Valley. This program is Prism, a space for LGBTQ teens and their allies to locate safe space groups and places and resources and events. Our plans are now to honor Elle's life and vision through this Prism program. Elle absolutely loved coming to the Valley. He'd be giddy with excitement days before he and Sean would make the 3.5 hour drive from the city to our quiet little town. Leaving New York early on a Sunday morning, they would arrive at my home around 10 a.m., and I'd have the coffee brewing, and they would bring the most delicious New York pastries. Elle loved it so much here that he talked often about one day retiring, finding a home here with Sean, and enjoying a much slower, quiet, and peaceful life. He was fascinated by the Amish way of life around us. One afternoon, an Amish family traveling by horse and buggy was heard clip-clopping down the street in front of my house, and as Elle watched it pass, he told me that one day he'd love to immerse himself for a week living with an Amish family to learn about their way of life. Now, when those buggies pass through our streets, I smile, and I think of Elle and those memorable Sundays we had together. I'd like to leave you with this one final thought. It's up to each of us now to take what we learned from Elle, the gifts he gave us in life, and fill that space he left open with our very best. This is how we get to honor him, how we remind the world that he was here and that he made an enormous impact which will long outlive him. It's how we know the world will always be a better place because Elle was here for a while.